What's up, everyone? It's Wolfgang back with another Dorkfish Collection review, and I've got an amazing figure to review today. It is my This Island's Earth Metaluna Mutant by NECA. Let's get into it. Released in 1955, the movie This Island Earth actually turned out to be a smash hit. Was re-released a couple of different times within a 20-year time period, and did well every time, and then just kind of went to obscurity, and finally in the modern age came back in formats of Blu-ray and digital download, and has made a splash again for a lot of its technological advances and its storytelling at that time period. The movie did really well for exploring both the sci-fi elements of things as well as the horror and suspense elements of things for its time. Now, this creature, the mutant, just giving you a little bit of perspective, was only in the movie for 2.5, close to 2.5, maybe 3 minutes. That's it. Otherwise, the creature was not in the movie. Majority of the movie is actually spent on Earth and then transporting to the alien Earth, in which they do the rest of the film on. And going into something, just a little tidbit before we get into the figure itself, is the bottom half. You'll notice there's a lot of different things with the feet, hands, the upper ribs, the head and shoulders, but the legs and the hips look like pants, and that's because it was pants in the movie. And the reason was, when they ran out of production money, they had to stop creating the suit. And the suit was the last thing they were producing. And from my studies, it seems that the legs were the last thing they were going to cast and create, and they didn't have money for it. So they just said, we'll put pants on him. And that is how we got the look we have here, from the hips to the ankles. So that being said, enough going on about the film. Let's get on to the figure. And as always, we start with the box and then the accessories. Alright, and here's the box, and it looks really good, as NECA does well with all their boxes. You've got a great product shot on the side, great product shots on the back, same product shot on this side, I believe, and then obviously the poster-esque style of the figure on the front. And when you open the internal there, you've got your backdrop as well as one more shot of the figure, and looks good. Pretty basic for NECA, but pretty standard, and that's all there is to the box. So let's get to the accessories. And now we're going to get into the accessories, and this will be a very, very short accessory talk, because it's the least amount of accessories of any figure I've ever bought. That being said, he only comes with one accessory, and it's the alternative head. So it is this head right here, the bloodied head. You've got two bloody spots. The back, very well painted and sculpted. The front, and it's all very well done. This head is perfect. You've got your port section there, but the head is amazingly done. No complaints about the head at all. And then everything else you see on him, as far as that head sculpt and all, that's what he comes with. That's everything. And from an aesthetic standpoint, this figure is top-notch. Personally, from all the NECA figures, and there was a lot of really good ones, my favorite of the year. And let's just pull them closer and look at it. I mean, you've got everything from the crinkles of the brain, the eyes and the way they glow, the mouth-like area, the veins, the texturing. Yes, you do have the seam here from the mold, but I mean, just the texturing across everything, the paint, it's all really well done. There's nothing about this figure, other than maybe the seams across the shoulders, there's nothing about this figure that I hate. I mean, you even got the symbol on the belt. It's nice and clear. The paint is good. Aesthetically, this figure is amazing. There's really nothing to complain about. Even this head here, like I talked about The blood spots, all that, so well done. The chrome-like finish over the eyes, the wrinkles, the caverns, the pink-esque areas going up into the brain, shading across the pants. There's nothing I feel like they could have done to make this figure better. This is the only time I think I've ever said this, and it's the only time I think I ever will say this. Aesthetically, 10 out of 10. There's nothing I think other... Well, you know what? Okay, the lines across the shoulders. Otherwise, there's nothing they could have done to make this figure better aesthetically. I think it's perfect. So, yeah, that's aesthetics, guys. It's perfect all the way around. Look at the back. You got texturing, you've got shading, you've got paint, you've got color. You even have the little... You have the belt area here, the little dots across the belt where they painted that to make sure that you saw that. I mean, you've got things like the little joint parts, but you can't really fault them for stuff like that, because at some point with a non-cloth covered figure, joints are going to be seen. So I say that to say, I mean, overall, it's perfect. I love it. So 10 out of 10, 100%. Great figure, aesthetically speaking. Now let's get into the articulation, though. In terms of articulation, let's start from the head. As always, you've got, as you pop the head off just to show it, a double ball joint. And that allows him... Now, he's got a big cranium, so you can't really look up with the head. Right? That's about as far as you're going to get. You can look down, pretty decent. You've got your attitude side to side. He's got a neck joint, of course, so it kind of adds to it. But you can turn pretty well, so you can move around. You're good on that. Shoulder joints are limited, not because of the actual joint itself, but because of this part, which is to be expected. It is what it is, so no, you can't go all the way around, but you do have a bicep swivel in there as well. And it's well enough done. And then you have, obviously, this single joint and that single joint. And you can turn at any of those joints as well and hinge at any of those joints, giving you that level of hinge, which you don't need more of. And then the wrist here, which is not, so that you can get in and see it, not jointed there where you can bend it up or not. It's strictly the claws. So there's no extra wrist joint here like there is there. This is kind of, I'll call that the wrist joint. These are the finger joints, which move well enough. They move perfectly. No problem there. So that's that. You've got your torso. Oop, pop the head off. Goes on very well. Your torso. So your joint there. And inside the hips. You turn it that much. Not a lot. Not a lot. Really not any back. And hardly any forward. So that's that. But hip there. Kind of turn it. You really can't turn it. You can, well, I say you really can't turn it. You can kind of turn it. But not crazy amounts. I go side to side pretty good. Back, okay. Forward, especially when you add the head in, pretty good. And then you got legs. There's your hips. Of course, you've got thigh swivel. Let me not forget your kick up, which is not that far, not that you need it for this figure. Your single jointed knee, protected in the back, which also rotates at the knee, replacing a shin swivel. And then you've got an ankle cut right there that doesn't bend in at all, it just cuts, it's just a swivel. And then you've got your ankle there. Ankle up, not super far. Ankle pivot. Yeah, and that's the articulation for him. And I think it's good enough. I think he's a different and interesting enough figure. He doesn't need all of the crazy articulations. It's not a ninja. It's not a Ninja Turtle. He does exactly what he needs. So I think his articulation is perfect for what he is and for the cuts and the way they molded and sculpted and painted him. So I still think very well done. And with that, we're going to be on to scale. Let's get him next to some other figures. So here he is next to a Marvel Legends and a DC Multiverse figure, Kingpin and Alfred. Looks pretty good next to Alfred. Kingpin, a little bit of a bigger figure. And here he is next to Mezco's Pennywise, as well as another NECA favorite of mine, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Looks pretty good. Love the scale between all of them. So all that being said, this was in my top 10 figures of 2025. It is my number one NECA figure of 2025. I have messed with a lot of different NECA figures throughout the year, but nothing really reached me like this one in terms of the look and the articulation. I just couldn't put it down. It sits at my desk to play with. It's such a great figure from I feel like, obscure movie that deserves a lot more love. So check it out if you get the chance. If you see this figure, pick him up. I promise it's worth the price. That being said, I'm going to bring this review to an end. I appreciate everyone who watched. I hope that you have a wonderful day, that you like, you subscribe, you share, and comment down below your favorite NECA figure from last year or this year, depending on when you're watching. That being said, this has been a Dorkfish review. My name is Wolfgang. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a killer 2026. Catch you in the next one. Later, guys. Peace.